Shot clock at 5. Isaiah gonna pull up, shoot the 3, bang! It is a 14-point Boston lead with 3:55 to go.
Bradley rising up and drills the mid-range J. Bradley with the overplay on defense, the steal, and the slam. Only 12 points in the fourth quarter, and Boston wins it 99-86.
Manu swings it, Patty Mills. 7-point game. Ginobili.
They get down 28 points in the second quarter and win by 10.
How about those dance moves? The Celtics own the Warriors in the fourth quarter last night, outscoring them 27-12 and knocking off Golden State at home. Meanwhile, the Spurs come back from 28 points down to beat the Kings. San Antonio is now only 1.5 games back of Golden State for that top seed. So Golden State has now lost 3 of 5, including that game in D.C. where, of course, Durant was injured. Paging Mr. Smith, Stephen A. Are the Warriors making the regular season interesting?
Shockingly, yes, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I must
that's
confess.
What I'm talking about.
After all that complaining,
yes,
all the whining.
all that complaining. But listen, my complaints were justified, and they would still be in vogue if Kevin Durant had not gone down, because then they wouldn't be struggling the way that they're struggling. It would still be lopsided, and it would be what it is. But now that he's hurt, and we wish him nothing but the best, we want him to come back healthy, ready to go, one of the top 2-3 players in the world. We want to see him on a basketball court, so our blessings and our best all go out to Kevin Durant. But let's be clear, without him, you got to remember, without him, you also are without Harrison Barnes and Andrew Bogut, 2 dudes who departed from Golden State after they lost in the finals last year to make room for Kevin Durant to arrive. So this is not the same Golden State Warriors team. Kevin Durant just made up for it because of his greatness, coupled with the greatness of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Now that he's gone, I'm not going to say they look ordinary because I won't disrespect them like that. They're far better than ordinary. But the Golden State Warriors are not coming out of the West without Kevin Durant. A matter of fact, I'm here to tell you, I believe the San Antonio Spurs are probably going to capture them, ultimately the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, demoting Golden State to number 2. And who's the 7th seed that they will play in the first round? The Oklahoma City Thunder, with Russell Westbrook, with Kevin Durant, with Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, and Oladipo and those boys. With the acquisition of Taj Gibson, they're going to get physical. They're going to bang. The pace of play is going to show up in the postseason. And that could end up being very, very interesting, because one or two things are going to happen with Kevin Durant. He'll either not be 100% healthy, or he will be healthy, but still very rusty. And as a result, you never know what kind of effect that can have. I think the Spurs catch the Golden State Warriors. I think they capture the number 1 seed in the West. And I think Golden State ends up playing Oklahoma City in the first round of the playoffs.
This is unbelievable to me. All year since the preseason, all we've been hearing from you is, the regular season is ruined.
Yep.
I hate this. This is the worst. And one injury late in the season to a player who is confident that he'll be back for the playoffs, and you just painted an amazing scenario.
Just any play. Just any play. Like you talk about Ja Jr. Sure, go ahead.
Where the team that KD left, that went 7 games with Golden State last year, is going to see him in the first round of the playoffs, and that's dependent on whether the Spurs can catch them. Listen, I didn't think the Spurs could. Even with the KD injury, I figured the Warriors would be good enough. That was when they were 4 games up. Now they're 1 game back in the loss column, the Spurs. A game and a half out altogether. Obviously, they have more games to play. And it looks like, based on the way the Warriors are playing, the Spurs will catch them. But at least there's drama there. So
I agree.
This is so the rest of the regular season, it's Spurs, Warriors, and that has to do with the Spurs having an advantage getting out of the West to face the Cavs and upsetting the apple cart. If the Cavs get out of the East, which does not look as sure a thing as it did to start the season or in the preseason, and meantime, you get that Thunder-Warriors matchup in round 1. Stephen A., this is shaping up to be an amazing stretch run toward the playoffs in the regular season.
Yes, all right, but I stand by my comments. Let's keep in mind, if Kevin Durant never gets hurt, they're the number 1 seed. They're running away with the West, and there is no first-round encounter between the Thunder and the Golden State Warriors. And so, based on that, that would have ruined my season. So Kevin Durant getting hurt actually helps me because it makes things far more intriguing. Plus, I get a great first-round situation with Oklahoma City potentially facing Golden State. Not to mention the fact that the West now becomes very, very interesting because a 7-game series potentially would have to be played somewhere other than the Oracle if it ended up being Houston or San Antonio. I kind of like this now. It kind of makes me happy.
Well, we're always glad to hear that, Stephen A. But that's like part 1. Part 2 to me here, and this may be the larger story in the grand scheme of things, is who are these Golden State Warriors? Because this, in terms of the narrative of NBA history, this is a huge moment for them. By moment, I mean the rest of this season, this postseason, this period in their history is going to be huge in terms of determining in this era. Is this a front-running team who, when the jump shots are not falling, right? Everyone criticized the new style of play and you live by the J, die by the J, all those kind of things. When those shots aren't falling, do they get discouraged? Do they roll over? Are they front runners? Because I'll tell you what, last night, Stephen A., last 8 minutes of the game, 1-possession game, it looked tight back and forth, and they just collapsed. The same kind of sloppy play we see from them in those circumstances.
Let me answer that. First of all, anytime you're a sniper, but you're missing your targets long range, it's a detriment to you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what team you are. I don't care what player that you are. That's a given. That's what happened to them for a 4-minute stretch in the NBA Finals. That's why they're not champions today. So we get that part. But the other part that we can't ignore, and we have to give credit where credit is due. The Boston Celtics can play some damn defense, man. I mean, when you look at Crowder and you look at Avery Bradley and you look at the way that these brothers play some defense, they were all over Golden State last night. This kid, Jaylen Brown, who got schooled a little bit by Steph Curry, but I like Jaylen Brown. He's got talent. I like the Boston Celtics. Who's the number 1 defense in the NBA, Max? It's the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, but by the way, the Celtics, I just want to say something quick about the Celtics. They collapsed twice without Horford in the 4th quarter, and Isaiah Thomas was upset. Horford comes back magically. The collapsing is done, right? And they beat Golden State at Golden State. And finally, about the Spurs, guys, those guys, Popovich resting his starters, good for the starters, good for the bench. Look at how they came back in the second half. It's a great NBA stretch
against Sacramento.
Gotta go, gentlemen.